All right, guys, here's the wide cut sawmill. I'm just going to go over some of the functions and features of the mill. Starting off, this is our control panel. You can get a little closer, Matt. And we have our main disconnect here. And our variable frequency drives for the forward and back of the head, and then the up and down of the head. And these are configurable. There's our starter for the motor on the blade, and then there is a brake as well on the up and down head movement, so you can get really exact stopping of the head right at the mark that you need. This is currently wired 480 volt. If you need to switch it to 240, you'd have to have an electrician modify the starters. And then on the control panel here, this is like the sawmill controls here. You can come and look at all the different functions. We have our motor start, and that starts the motor of the blade, so I'll do that quick. You can tell it takes a long time to wind down because our bearings are so nice. Okay, and then the next function is the head up and down, and you'll notice this is our gear motor with chain drive to a main shaft that lifts these chains on the head. And that is also, you have speed control on that. So you can go fast or slow up and down. So I'm gonna go up, speed it up. It does go pretty fast if you wanna speed it up pretty fast. I have a blue mark there for my maximum height that I can go up. And then to drop it down, and you'll notice I can stop it immediately. The second I take my finger off the button, it stops. So you can really fine tune your height adjustment. We'll take it all the way down. There you go, I'm speeding it up. Okay, and then on the functions here, you can see we have speed control for our forward and back. So going back, and then you flip these toggles to forward, and then running speed means that it's controlled by the variable frequency drive. So I can slow that way down to snail pace if you're cutting really big slabs, or speed it up. And then if you want to bring the mill back fast, you go to jog, and that just goes to maximum speed for the return. And then that brings it back at full speed. It's pretty simple. Gear motor on this gearbox, direct to our sprocket chain drive, and that goes on the right and left side of the mill. So you have dual chain drive pulling the head. Less parts, but more efficient. And then on the main mill, you'll notice we have these are Cook Mega roller guides. They do have the jaw assembly on the bottom, and these are currently 1.5-inch blades and rollers. I do have the 2-inch guides as well for 2-inch blades, but it runs better with 1.5 inch. The up and down drive goes on this linear bearing. This is like an insanely expensive, super heavy duty linear bearing. It's like a $2,000, over $2,000 just for a pair of these linear, the bearing there and then the linear rail was a couple $1,000. And the same thing for the chain, for the blade in and out is on the same type of linear rail and linear bearing, and that's just a manual pull out and in. Super smooth, but this is like bomb proof, like your guide is not wobbling. And it will actually pull out. If you pull the guides all the way out, it's almost a 52-inch cut. So wider than, I mean, realistically wider than what you're really gonna ever need. And then I'll show you how the blade comes off. If you want to get closer over here, Matt. So we just have a hydraulic jack, and I just loosen it up. So now I relieve the pressure, and this main plate is what's holding our bearing for that wheel. And the way to loosen it, I just stick this bar in here and I just pry it and it pops it open. So I just pushed it about an inch over. Super easy. I always set my thing there. And then to take the blade off, we just have these rubber handles. That flips down. The guides, or these guards come off. I actually don't really run the outside guards most of the time. But if you're feeling safe, you can run them. Okay? And then your blade comes off from there. Super easy. Okay? And that just pulls out right there. I do get all of our blades from Cook Saw. They have like the quickest turnaround time on blades, and for this size 1.5-inch blade, they're like the most affordable, so I recommend just getting them from Cook. Now to look at the actual mill over here, our wheels are Cook wheels, and the axle and bearing assembly for this is also from Cook. Most of the linear motion parts on this machine are either from McMaster or Cook Saw. So all these parts are super easy to find. And over on this side, this is just a custom machined shaft that we had custom made for that wheel, and then 2 giant pillow blocks that are then tied into a double belt sheave going direct to the motor. And this sheave, we've fudged around with different ratios on the pulley for the band speed, and the one we have it set at is like optimal. And that's our 20 horsepower electric motor that's equivalent to a 40 horse gas. These are the original belts, and you can see they're still in like perfect condition. This machine's been set up perfectly, never had any major repairs, and it still functions very well. The guides, the track over here is all made out of like insanely thick steel tubing. We have like 6 inches, that's more than 6 inches. That's like 7 inches of stacked tubing for my crossbars. I promise you will never bend them unless you like set a bulldozer on them. But like, they're super heavy duty. We like drop giant logs on there with forklift and it's never flinched. The legs are adjustable. We have them bolted in the ground. They are adjustable up and down if you really need to fine tune the track, but the track is so straight that it doesn't take too much fine tuning. These dogs, the log dogs are Norwood. You can find them at Norwood Sawmill website. They're great little dogs. You can add more of them if you want more. And the clamps just slide back and forth on here. And they're a really nice little manual clamp system if you're accustomed to using manual clamps. And the track, if you did want to extend the track, you can kind of look how it's fabricated over at the butt end here. It's basically 2 by 6 1/4-inch steel tubing. And the only thing you would have to modify is this idler sprocket. The way the idler sprocket's attached to the end of the tubing here, that's just another pair or set of 2x6 steel tubing that the idler sprocket's sitting in, and he welded it onto the end. But you would have to add your number 50 chain, and you'd have to move the idler sprocket to the end of the rail that you add if you add rail. It's pretty simple construction, but it's super, super heavy duty track system, very precise and straight. It currently cuts a little under 20 feet, like just under 20 feet to be annoying sometimes. Anyway, that's the mill. Thanks for watching.